Can we talk about a certain quantity? How much have you brought to Ukraine?
Look, we have already delivered more than 1,000, even closer to 2,000, something like that.
Hi guys, it's Ed. Welcome back to Warthog Defense. Ukraine's Air Force is hitting back and doing it with precision. In the skies over Donetsk, a Ukrainian Su-27 fighter jet carried out a targeted strike on Russian position in Chasiv Yar. The strike reportedly hit personnel, ammunition stockpile and equipment, dealing a blow to Russian forces entrenched near the front line. While much of the war is fought with drone and artillery, this mission reminds us that Ukraine's aging but capable fighter fleet is still delivering devastating blows, even in the most contested zones.
Ukrainian aviation is once again making its presence felt, and that tells us something important. When jets are flying, it means Russian air defenses are being pushed back, suppressed, or overwhelmed. In recent weeks, drone strikes have dominated the headlines, but now we're seeing more and more combat aircraft in action. One of the most notable examples, a Ukrainian Su-27 delivering a precision strike on Russian positions in Chasiv Yar in the Donetsk region. The strike targeted Russian troops, ammunition, and military equipment, showing that even near the front lines, Ukrainian pilots can operate and strike effectively. This shift matters. It signals a battlefield where Ukrainian forces have more control of the airspace, at least locally. And it shows that drones are no longer acting alone. Ukraine's Air Force is back in action, and when fighters like the Su-27 take off, the results are deadly for Russian positions. According to the UK Secretary of State for Defense, Russia has lost 240,000 soldiers, killed and wounded, since the beginning of 2025. Militar News correspondent reports this, citing UK Secretary of State for Defense John Healey during a meeting of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group. The number of Russian soldiers killed or wounded since the start of the full-scale invasion has surpassed 1 million. Just since the beginning of this year, there have been 240,000 casualties, John Healey stated in his opening remarks at the Ukraine Defense Contact Group meeting. This estimate largely aligns with data from the Ukrainian General Staff, which reports that between January 1st and July 21st, 2025, 250,360 Russian soldiers were killed or wounded. According to US intelligence estimates, Russia has lost 100,000 soldiers killed in the war against Ukraine since the beginning of 2025. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio reported this during a press conference following his meeting with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on July 10th. It is important to note that since January of this year alone, Russia has lost 100,000 soldiers, killed, not wounded, killed, Rubio stated. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte provided the same estimate during a meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump at the White House in Washington on July 14th. Thus, the ratio of killed to wounded is only 1 to 1.4, which is an extraordinarily low figure. This indicates problems with evacuating the wounded from the battlefield due to institutional difficulties and the high activity of drones, as well as a low level of tactical medicine. In mid-May, it was reported that since the beginning of the full-scale Russian-Ukrainian war, Russian troops have lost at least 6,000 officers of various ranks. The Killed in Ukraine project, which keeps track of public obituaries of fallen Russian officers, reported on this. Therefore, this estimate should be considered a minimum threshold for losses. Actual losses are likely to be much higher. The largest number of losses was recorded among senior lieutenants, 1520 people. Lieutenants are in second place, 1237, and captains are in third place, with at least 940 killed. This is followed by majors, 609 killed, junior lieutenants, 460, colonels, 107, major generals, 7, and lieutenant generals, 3. Additionally, the project recorded 827 officers of other ranks killed. Around 2,000 Colombians have been brought to Ukraine to take part in the war. They fight and do everything as they should, said the commander of an assault company of the 47th Separate Mechanized Brigade, Hamlet.
Can we talk about a certain quantity? How much have you brought to Ukraine?
Look, we have already delivered more than 1,000, even closer to 2,000, something like that.
Ethnic Armenian Hamlet, the commander and organizer of the unit, did not ask himself whether there should be a foreign company in the 47th Brigade. He just went ahead and did it. The commander does not burden himself with other Hamlet-like questions either.
Each of them has motivation. They have motivation, their personal interest. I didn't ask. I'm not interested. They fight, they do everything as needed. The rest, I'm not interested in what their motivation is.
The soldiers of the 425th Skala Separate Assault Regiment successfully conducted an offensive operation in Russia's Kursk region. The unit reported the operation's success and shared a video showcasing their combat efforts against the invaders. Assault teams and scouts cleared the settlement of Novi Put and the surrounding areas. The operation, which began in May, was a significant step in reclaiming the region. There was a large enemy stronghold with dozens of fortified bunkers and firing positions built in front of a line of concrete and mine barriers. The command decided to act with small groups. Initially, soldiers from the motorcycle platoon crossed the state border and, under the cover of night, established a foothold on the Russian side. Following them, infantry assault groups advanced. The Ukrainian soldiers quickly seized the trenches in the southern part of the area and used them as a stronghold for further operations. According to the defenders, the Russians in the area had up to a company of infantry. After the Skala regiment's offensive, the enemy started to bring in reserves to drive them out. To detect the movement of enemy infantry behind their lines, a Ukrainian reconnaissance team of 2 soldiers was deployed. This position was called Rulia. For a month and a half, the soldiers remained in place, spotting enemy firing positions and reporting the movement of Russian troops and equipment. Their work greatly assisted aerial reconnaissance in adjusting artillery strikes. After completing their mission, the soldiers safely withdrew from the position without casualties. To prevent the Russians from eliminating the Ukrainian breakthrough in the Kursk region, Ukrainian artillery, mortars, as well as kamikaze drones and bombers targeted the enemy, destroying fortifications and bunkers. Following these strikes, the Skala regiment cleared the area, expanding the controlled zone within the breakthrough. The regiment reported that over the course of a month of fighting for the settlement of Novi Put and the surrounding area, the enemy lost up to 2 infantry battalions. At the same time, the Skala regiment carried out operations near the settlements of Krasnooktyabrski, Komsomolsk, and Obod in the Kursk region. U.S. Treasury Secretary Besant: "We urge Europe to adopt our approach on Russian oil tariffs." He said 80 to 90 senators back a sanctions bill targeting Russia. Any country buying sanctioned Russian oil could face secondary tariffs of up to 100%.
Treasury leads the financial sanctions. Our OFAC division does that. But, Joe, in my mind, what's groundbreaking here is that the Senate, and I think there would be 80 or 90 senators who want to pass a sanctions bill, and President Trump has single-handedly changed the paradigm here, because included in that bill is we don't know what the deadline will be, whether it's 10, 30, 50 days, but any country who buys sanctioned Russian oil is going to be subject to up to 100% secondary tariffs. So now the United States Senate agrees with President Trump that tariffs are a means to political ends. And this is revolutionary. President Trump has changed the conversation here. And I would urge our European allies who have talked a big game to follow us if we implement these second.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.